Some major travel news this week relating to Dubai. Dubai is officially open. This week I'm joined by Allsopp and Allsopp Operations Director Paul Kelly.
Hello.
And our Head of Department for Short-Term Lettings, Dillon Paul.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, chaps.
Thank you.
So they're saying Dubai is open.
Yep.
Paul.
Anyone who's double jabbed from wherever they're coming from in the world is now welcome to come to Dubai.
Brilliant. So huge incentive to come and get some sun.
Exactly that. Yeah, and we're getting into the great months of Dubai at the moment. So there's no better place in the world.
Very, very good. So that's off the back of the UK listing the UAE on the Amber List, Dylan, a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
We've seen it in our own offices, an exodus of people going back to see family.
Yep.
But what about the other way around? People coming to Dubai and looking to stay. So obviously your role in the business, you oversee the department for short stays, holiday lets. What have you found since that announcement?
Yeah, so it's been very interesting lately. We've been receiving quite a few inquiries from UK-based tourists coming out to Dubai. A mixture of reasons though. People coming out for, to maybe visit family out here that they haven't seen in a while, but also people looking to reallocate to the UAE. We're seeing good inquiries coming through for various areas in Dubai, so it's exciting.
What would you say the uplift's been since the announcement from the Amber List? Because sentiment is that Dubai has always been a destination of choice from the UK. It's been a big popular destination. Could you stick some numbers on that? What you've seen pre Amber List announcement from the UK?
So I mean, in terms of UK-based tourists coming through, we've seen a major pickup. I would say roughly about 50% of
Wow.
of our inquiries that are coming through. For various reasons, like I said, but mainly people coming to work in Dubai now.
So that's what people are doing, is they're choosing short term.
Correct.
When they land here, suss the place out where they want to be before committing to somewhere typically longer term, which is 12 months.
That's it. That's exactly the reason. We've got a lot of people that are obviously, unsure of where they want to settle, where they want to commit to, their long-term stay eventually. And it just makes a lot of sense. They can bounce around between our apartments. They can figure out where they want to stay, whether it be, downtown, maybe closer to their offices, or, Marina, closer to the hustle, or, whatever the case may be. But yeah, we've seen a lot of inquiries coming through and increase from that side.
That's a really interesting fact for the markets and the economy, isn't it, really? Because your initial thought would be, okay, look, we're talking about short-term lettings, the Amber List, we're going to have more holidaymakers, people escaping the UK as the summer ends and the winter starts in the UK. But probably a wider implication is, it seems like people in the UK have been waiting for more freedom to come to Dubai, to move their lives over here, to start, which can only be great for industries, the economies, the job market over here, and everything. So,
well, we did talk last week on the last episode of Taking Care of Business. We talked about the kids going back to school. I've actually been invited to multiple WhatsApp groups for kids going to schools. And in one particular group where my youngest daughter's gone to school, there's been at least 20 new people in that group that have moved to country within the last four weeks. So
wow.
Whilst I can't give you exact figures of population, there's definitely a feeling like there is probably every summer, really, like an inbound of people moving in. But we did talk off camera, Dylan, about you've been in the industry specifically for holiday lets for quite a while now.
Yep.
And you said to me you've seen a difference in term of stay, so how long people stay. When we set up also holiday home short-term lettings, my initial feeling was, will people be looking for 4 or 5 days, maybe a long weekend to come to visit Dubai? But actually, you're seeing quite different.
Yeah, I can see it in the length of inquiries that we're starting to get. Obviously, like we said, it's the type of clientele we're starting to see through. But yeah, previously, in my experience, we started seeing short-term lets was more of a staycation type of outlet. Especially in our areas like the Palm and things like that, we'd have a week stay, a weekend stay, families coming out, getting together, They feel a little bit more comfortable. They've got their own space. They can move around in the apartment and in the building as they feel.
So time, what you're seeing is that the length of time people are staying is probably a lot longer than what you've seen previously.
Correct.
Do you think that's an Expo? Sorry to jump in. Do you think that's an Expo effect?
Expo clientele are looking to book for a little bit longer. Obviously, in our areas closer to the Expo area, green communities, Alandalus is a good area for people that are coming out for Expo. But yes, like you said, monthly bookings are what we're seeing. The trend being at the moment. We do get short stays. I'm not ruling that out at all.
Yeah.
We are getting the weekend bookings coming through for our properties, mainly on the Palm. It is a holiday destination. People from Abu Dhabi coming through, maybe meeting family out here. It's just easier for them to get together in, let's say, an apartment than anything else. They've got access to the beach. They've got access to all those facilities. Whereas a lot of our other apartments are seeing monthly bookings for tourists coming out.
So obviously, for the remainder of this year, Expo is very high on the agenda for short-term stays. Any particular calendar events that you kind of look out for where people might be thinking, maybe I want to book for that? Obviously, if I'm a landlord, these key milestones for us this year. So just off the top of my head, New Year.
Yeah.
Always quite an event. Is there any particular events this year that you think, yes, this is where you may see an uptick for that period?
Yeah, we've got the sevens that are coming up now in November. So we should see some interest coming for that now in September and October. Our advanced bookings, we can already see people booking for New Year's. I mean, with everything opening up at the moment, people are sure they can make solid plans now. They can book flights, they can book accommodation. So we're seeing advanced bookings coming through for that period already, which is exciting. People are not leaving it to last minute or changing their plans. Yeah,
good. We were talking off camera because obviously we've got multiple properties in Dubai, and we've kind of toyed with the idea of short-term lettings ourselves, but we were kind of debating off camera about what the ideal property would be for short-term in terms of what really does very, very well. I mean, what's your view?
You have to have, or the way I think of it personally is, there's two heads, isn't there, with short-term market? One, you've got your holiday makers. So I think if you got something in the Marina, downtown, the Palm, like we're saying, then you're probably going to be targeting the holiday makers, especially around Christmas, New Year, the sevens, the golf tournament, F1. So these are times where you can really, when as a homeowner, you can really charge a premium to let your property out. And then the other head you kind of think of, Alandalus is a great one, where it is people moving over to Dubai. So when I came to Dubai 10.5 years ago, you didn't really have you could stay in a hotel or you could commit to an annual rent. There wasn't really that in between. Whereas now, what the offering is in Dubai, you come and stay somewhere for 30 days, see if you like it. Yeah. It's fully furnished. You've got your TV, you've got your internet. You can turn up with your suitcase like most of us do, and you're just away. But you've got your own space. You're not in a hotel as such, and you're not.
So you're saying we've got obviously the tourists, the people looking for that destination, but you're going to have that professional person as well that perhaps is looking for somewhere to live because it might be work related, it might be that they're starting a career here. So somewhere like in Jumeirah Golf Estates or in downtown Dubai is also a good option.
Yeah,
100%.
And I'd say it offers flexibility. We spoke previously about how it offers flexibility to landlords, but it also offers flexibility to tenants. So again, you're not committing to a year with penalty clauses in the contract. You can commit for really maximum 30 days at a time, and then you can roll it on. So there's no ongoing financial commitment for the tenant for the property.
So all of our properties we've got at the moment for short term, they're all on booking.com, they're all on Airbnb, so they're ready and available to book today.
Correct.
Typically when someone books, let's say for a week for argument's sake, what can they kind of expect from Allsopp managing that property in terms of a lettings experience?
So in my experience, I do come from a hospitality background.
Okay.
My sole focus is the guest experience. And that's solely what we focus on. If your guest has a good stay, you get the good reviews, and so the wheel turns. Other guests start seeing this. The property gains traction. So we at Allsopp and Allsopp, the offering that we give is a meet and greet.
Okay.
That's the service that we like to give. We like to meet the guest on arrival. It just makes so much more sense if you've got somebody arriving from the UK, or wherever for that matter. They're not familiar with Dubai. They've just arrived, suitcases in hand. And it's really refreshing to have somebody at the property, meet them, and just give them a brief orientation of what's happening. What's the closest supermarket? What's the closest mall? Where can I get a SIM card, for instance? If you've just arrived, we'll do a brief orientation with them, and there's constant communication during the course of their stay.
So what about when they're in the property first night? I assume clean linens, bedding,
everything is there. Everything
cutlery.
is there. Our properties are fully equipped, bills included, Wi-Fi, TV's there. We've got quite a few properties at the moment that have Netflix enabled. So it's a home. It's basically their home.
So if they turn up, all they need to do is buy their food.
That's all they need to do.
And go to sleep.
And that's all. And enjoy the apartment. We take precautions, obviously, in terms of cleaning. That's one of the focus areas that we give our attention to. Apartments fresh, clean, great linen, great bedding, hotel standard, basically.
Yeah.
And like I said,
come to Allsopp and Allsopp, great linen.
Yeah.
I like that. Come to
Selling
Allsopp
point.
and Allsopp hotel standard. That's what I like
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. It's just the feedback we've been getting also from a lot of our guests is that the comfortability when being received at our properties is just it's.
So what happens mid-stay? Let's say, God forbid, there's an issue with the apartment for whatever it might be. Things just happen, don't they?
Yeah.
How do we remedy that? What's the next steps?
Yeah. So we work with a couple of maintenance and cleaning companies. So they are all on standby, 24 hours a day. The property's fully managed. If there's any issues in the property, let's say, like you said, God forbid, water heater bursts during the night, we have a team that's ready to get out there to rectify the issue. And any other issues they have during the course of their stay, we offer cleanings throughout their stay as well, just to assist with that.
They do get cleaning throughout, or is it optional?
Correct. Yeah.
Good.
They do get cleanings throughout, linen change. That is a choice if they would like that. And yeah, that's.
And what about checking out? Just as easy as leaving the keys inside, or?
Yeah, so we can do that. We do like to meet the guest on departure. It's good to touch base with the guest again. Find out how their stay is. Get some constructive criticism. That's always really important for us, especially for somebody that's stayed in the apartment for a month. They pick up things that we would not necessarily pick up on, and we improve on that. We do a checkout inspection with the guest, and happy
Good.
days.
So occupancy rates with hotels, obviously in the last 18 months, have took a bit of a hammering, haven't they, Paul? So obviously short-term lettings equally would have had an impact, but what do we think going forward is going to be good numbers to achieve for an investment?
Well, some of our properties at the moment have 100% occupancy, which is absolutely fantastic. I would say, when we initially meet clients and we offering our projections of the short-term market, our aim is to get 80% occupancy. And within this, and Dillon will be able to explain more, obviously some parts of the year, we've just been talking about peak periods, will, again, like the hotel market, will push the prices up, and from the owner's point of view, they'll be able to charge a premium, and this is where they can really make their money in the short term. And then in months like we've just been through, when I say we've just been through, like the summer months where it's 50 degrees outside, obviously charge a little less for the property just to try and keep 100% occupancy is the idea, but trying to keep it at the 80% occupancy. So I'd say a fair target is 80%, and within that we'll have periods where we're charging a premium, periods where we're doing special offers or special pricing to try and attract people in. But And I did want to turn the conversation on to the advantages of short-term lettings to the landlord. But the way we see our job and our aim is to enable a landlord to get 20 to 30% more money on their apartment than they would on an annual rental basis. But we'll manage that whole process for them.
It's incredible, really. 20 to
superb.
30% more on average from an annual rent. What are the benefits aside from, the more money, of course, which is probably from an investor's point of view the most important thing? What other incentives are there to short-term let over a longer term?
Well, your property is managed. Everything is done by us. So the owner doesn't really need to get involved with his property. As soon as we sign him on, we take over the entire process. If anything happens in the property, we're the ones to deal with it. We get the maintenance team. That headache is completely taken away from the owner. So essentially, we are a property management team as well at the same time. We handle all the revenues for the owners as well. We furnish the properties when it comes to that, if need be, and then we give our opinion if anything needs to be added in the property that can add value to the guest's stay. We do all of that, and that's just something that can be taken away completely from the owner.
Do you find owners, let's say someone owns one of your apartments in Marina, that they may block out periods for, let's say, family?
Yeah.
Because that's a benefit, isn't it, really, having freedom with your property?
Exactly. So they've got so much flexibility with regards to their property. If they know, let's say, a month in advance that they maybe going to have family over, or they want to use the property, maybe they're out of the country, they want to have a week's stay, they're coming out for business or whatever the case may be, they can book the property out through the application that we give them access to. They can block it out, they can check in, enjoy their time in the apartment, and then we get the apartment cleaned when they leave, get full linens changed, and then it's ready for the next guest to stay.
It's worth noting we've been deliberately flexible on that as well. So a lot of companies will only allow you to book for 2 weeks of the year in your own property for your own use, whereas we took the approach of, well, it's the owner's property, so if they want to book it for 6 months, it's their property to book for 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we'll explain the revenue implications to them, because if they're using it themselves, then they're obviously not making an income. But like you say, if someone's got an investment property, but they have family visiting a couple of times a year, and it'd be easy for the family to stay in an investment property, then it's quite a flexible approach we've got for them.
Good, very good. What about any useful tips for someone doing a short-term let? So, someone's never done it before. What sort of things can you expect? I mean, visibility of bookings, how can you gain that? How can you see that? Is there an app? Is there a site they can go on? What sort of things?
So, for new investors entering into short-term lettings, I from what I can see and in my experience, it can be intimidating in the beginning. It can be intimidating in terms of you've basically handed your apartment over to somebody, and there's no surety whether or not it's going to make money or not. But that's the fortunate thing with us, is we have the experience in terms of being able to find that business and getting the apartment booked for you. There's full transparency in terms of bookings, when bookings are coming in, when the calendars are open, what rates we are charging for the properties as well. Owners will have access to the PMS system that we use, the property management system that we use. They are able to go on there, have a look, who's booked the property for how long, how far in advance the booking has come in for. I mean, we've got some owners at the moment that are really happy. Their properties are booked the entire December, the entire January, the entire February. And they can see the visibility, they can see the rates that we're charging, and that gives them comfortability at the end of the day, to have some bit of touch certainty to.
What about pushback though? Because when let's say someone buys a property today, people have a huge outlay don't they? When they want to put their property in short term, that normally just think, oh, can you rent my property for me?
Yeah.
And typically that's what happens with rentals. You buy a property, and most of the time, a lot of the time, it's vacant. Obviously, there are some furnished properties, but there is a requirement for short term lettings to ensure there is a minimum standard of furnishings.
Correct.
So what sort of costs would a typical landlord expect for, let's say, a 2-bed apartment, and what would they need to furnish with that in terms of, do they need cutlery?
Yeah.
What goes in there?
So yes, obviously properties need to be furnished. They need to be furnished to a certain standard that's not, set out by Allsopp or anybody else for that matter. These are standards that are set out by the DTCM, by the Dubai Tourism Council. So it basically needs to have all the essentials in for somebody to move in with their bags and have a comfortable stay and not require anything. Obviously a bed, a sofa, TV, all those major items. So I would say for a 2-bed apartment, you're looking, if it's completely unfurnished, to get it, up to where it needs to be in terms of linens, curtains, things like that, you're looking at roughly about 20,000.
Okay. Obviously that can vary on qualities and stuff like that, but minimum we're talking 20,000.
Correct. Yeah.
That's quite good, by the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
To fully furnish a 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, and this is a service that we offer as well, which the owner does. He doesn't need to worry about going to IKEA and standing in front of a large, range of beds and wonder what to choose. We do all of that. We recommend if he would like 2 single beds in his second bedroom as opposed to a king bed. No problem. That's it all adds value at the end of the day. But we take care of all of that. Obviously, it is a bit of a big capital outlay. Not sure whether or not he's going to make revenue on the property, and at the same time making sure that we look after that part of the investment when you're seeing a lot of guests come through.
In an ideal world, when would he break even on outlay? Going into year 2 or towards the end of year 1?
I would say in the first 6 months.
Really?
I would say in the first 6 months. If it's furnished well, if it's in an ideal area, I would say he would make that money back in the first 6 months.
And is that in current times or in peak times without COVID?
Peak times.
Okay.
Well, we're going into peak times at the moment, and it's look, for instance, we've had a property in JBR, took a full furniture package from us, and his property went live with us in the low season during summer. That sort of, there's not much movement happening from that perspective, and he's done phenomenally well. He's made his furniture capital outlay back already, and his property's fully booked the entire November, the entire December, already for Christmas and New Year. So what he's making at the moment is pure revenue to him. He's paid off his furniture costs, so it does vary.
How does it work? So someone's got a property to rent short term. They receive a booking. When does the owner receive their money? So
the owner will receive the money for the booking of the previous month on the 15th of the following month.
Okay, so you technically always a month behind. Yes,
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so he'll then receive that revenue payout directly to him, and then whatever you've got booked for that current month, he'll get then for the next month, and then so on and so forth. We obviously also, if there's owners that want us to look after their bills as well, if they need us to pay for their bills, their gas bills, we do that. We will look after them if they don't have the means to be able to to settle those bills on a monthly basis. We will use their revenue from the apartment, and we can just do that. Takes the hassle away of them being able to do that.
What's your views on, Paul, buying bigger properties for short term, or do you think it's key to stick into, I guess this question's both of you really, looking at just small 2-3 bedroom apartments?
So for me, looking from an investment point of view, I always try and think of where the most active point of the market will be. And probably, if we're being honest, the most active point is studios to 2 beds is what the most bookings are going to be. However, Dubai being Dubai, we get a lot of demand for 3-4 bedroom penthouse apartments, villas on the Palm, these super luxury properties, which is part of the Dubai glitz and glamour and what it is known for. So I guess go one end to the other, go studios to 1 to 2 beds, or splash out and buy a villa on the Palm to rent
Do you
out.
think any of your people have properties with us? Are their portfolios quite diverse in terms of lots of different things, or do they have quite a lot of the similar-ish sort of properties?
It's quite diverse. I mean, we've got owners that have got a studio, and then we've got owners that have got a 3-bed. So it's pretty diverse.
So today, just give us an example of, what can someone rent today for, I don't know, 300 dirhams a night or 500 dirhams a night? Give me an idea of just some of the properties with the people can rent today.
Well, 300 dirhams a night can get you a 1-bed in the Marina.
Okay.
Currently, 500 dirhams a night could get you property in JBR.
So on the beach front, yeah.
That's it.
With a sea view or the other side?
At the other side.
Yeah.
The other side. But that being said, we've also got properties on the Palm as well, on Shoreline, that we can do for 500 dirhams a night.
So for anyone listening in the UK, on £100 per night, you can live in the 8th wonder of the world.
Yeah.
Palm Jumeirah, in the middle of the sea. Amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. You wouldn't want to do that. And
well, for £60 a night, you can live right in Dubai Marina, which has got so many bars, restaurants.
Yep.
There's so much going on. You're over the road from the beach. So it really is. And we touched on it last week. And the reason we talk about the UK a lot is because it is Dubai's busiest transit route from Dubai to London to Heathrow. So there is a lot of tourism that comes from the UK. But to put it into perspective, the what you would call budget hotels in the UK charge more than £60 a night.
Oh my
so you come into a place like Dubai, right in the heart of where all the action is, right where you want to be, for less than what you pay to go down the road and stay in a budget hotel. So
sign me
really
up.
Good value.
I'm in the Palm, £100 a night. Before we wrap up, guys, is any do's and don'ts that you would offer to any, firstly, tenants, people just potentially staying, and then secondly, landlords, just so you can give some helpful advice, really?
I mean, we have touched on it, but I would definitely suggest that anybody looking to come to Dubai definitely, look out for a short-term let before they make a decision in terms of long-term.
Yeah.
Find your bearings, figure out where you want to be. Do you want to be closer to the office? Do you want to be closer to the kids' schools? Do you want to be closer to the hustle and bustle, or don't you want to? Do you want to stay somewhere that's a little bit more quieter?
You would engage also with people that want to rent to give that advice, because if you're on Booking.com or Airbnb, it's quite overwhelming, because if you're in the UK, you don't really know where to stay.
Yep.
So if you're getting inquiries, typically you can kind of steer people
in the right direction.
Right place to go.
And that's exactly where most of our inquiries are coming from. They're coming direct. People want more information and before they make that final decision, and then thereafter, once they've found where they want to settle down, we can always assist them after that as well.
Good. Do's and don'ts with landlords, I guess. Don't cut corners. One big one. Don't
cut corners. Yeah. Furnishing the property well goes a long way.
Yeah,
it does go a long way. With short-term lets, it's all about what is seen. It's all about the first impression. It's all about the photos. It's all about what the property offers. Don't cut corners.
And the consequence of that is probably a revisit from the client if they have a good experience, wanting to come back to 100% in the future.
I mean, like I said, it's a circle effect. If you've had a good stay, good reviews, the rest just rolls in. We're in a time at the moment where people book on reviews.
Yeah.
If your reviews are there, if it's tastefully decorated, which is what we assist with, it won't stop.
Good.
It won't stop.
Any do's and don'ts before we wrap up, Paul?
I'd just say to owners, I know maybe not every owner's in the luxurious position to be able to do it, but if you can, take the leap of faith. Obviously, there is the upfront cost and there's the uncertainty of people looking at it and they don't know how many bookings they're going to get, or they're a bit worried, and they fall back on feeling comfortable of having an annual tenant because they know what they're getting. But it's risk and rewards. So if you can take the leap of faith, take it, because the rewards are there. We're seeing it already.
I think being patient as well, from a landlord's perspective, because if you're looking at it day by day or even perhaps week by week, you can become perhaps frustrated. But just trust the process. All of our properties are advertised in the right places. Yeah. We'll dynamically price the property so we can attract people's interest, and ultimately that magic number of 20-30% over the course of the year will get there.
And ultimately, it's factored in. When we project on properties, we don't project for 100% occupancy. We do project for those months where the property is not going to be booked. So that all gets factored in, and like you said, trust the process.
Good. Well, that is us for taking care of business this week. I hope you found it useful. Dubai is open. Dubai is back. People are welcome to come here. They're welcome to come and enjoy our lovely properties we've got available, Allsopp and Allsopp short-term lettings. Yep. Should you need any help whatsoever, any questions about short-term lettings, you can reach out to Dillon on what email address?
Dillon at Allsopp and Allsopp, Dillon.
Good. And he's also going to be tagged into our Insta page. So check him out. Any questions, he's here to help. Great guy. Paul, great to see you again.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.